Jedi and Padawans, Disney and Hulu, you are now tuned in to the Disney Holic Show.
Hello and welcome to the Disney Holic Show. That's Jen Diz.
And that's Mike TV.
Today we've got our eyes glued to Disney Plus with our review of Star Wars Visions, our thoughts on the new Disney Plus logo, and other content we'd love to see in the future, plus some April Fool's reviews.
Sitting on top of you today in our Zoom call.
Hey. Do you think we got anybody with our April Fools last week at all? Any listeners out there? Did we get anybody with our April Fools? I already forgot. What did I say?
Oh, I stayed off the internet yesterday. I was like, I'm not having it. Smart. Mike is going to get me. I was highly aware and just waiting for it. And I didn't even see, did you post something? I didn't even look,
I didn't. Honestly. I was so busy yesterday that
Same.
I was disappointed in myself for not coming up with a good April Fool's. Oh, I just remembered on the last week's episode, I said there was going to be an Avatar musical at Hyperion Theater.
You punked me last week.
Yeah.
When it wasn't even April Fool's.
But you did try to get me, and it was so LAME, which was, you told me yesterday that Disneyland is replacing all of their Coca-Cola products with Pepsi. But that's a good one.
Even more that would freak me out. Is it wasn't even my idea. I saw somebody else post it and it reminded me, I'm like, oh yeah, today's April Fool's. And I thought that one was so subtle that you might fall for it.
I was just on guard the whole day, like you were.
He already knew. He's aware.
But that's a good one. That is a good one. Like that one would really upset me if it was real.
I was ready for you to like throw the towel in. You're like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't go to D23.
Throw it in. So there were some good ones. So I did scroll through knowing that everything was fake. I had to keep reminding myself though at times because there was some stuff that I wanted to be real, particularly one of the Disney blogger people posted the return of Paint the Night. And I wanted it so badly that I forgot that it was April Fool's for about 5 seconds.
Like, it just feels good to think it. I'm just going to go with it.
And it made so much sense too, because he said, as part of Pixar celebration or something. So I'm like,
that's really smart.
And then he showed the picture of the truck from Cars. Okay, he got me, but just 5 seconds, but still. There were some other good ones. Did you hear about the drama between Bob Iger and Elon Musk yesterday?
No.
Okay, this is real. This is their April Fools. That just shows the world we are living in is so ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
You said it's their April Fool, so it wasn't real.
It was real to Disney. So basically what happened was Elon Musk tweeted on X, his stupid rebrand of Twitter. He tweeted that he is being hired as the DEI, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer for Disney to help make them more woke. It's like, is he a child? Like, who would say that?
It's like, oh my God. There are some people that are way too high up and saying all the wrong things. Like, That's not even funny.
It's so
like,
stupid.
Screw you, dude.
Yeah, it's so stupid. As far as I know, Disney did not respond. Good for them. Just let him do his thing. But it got to the point where it was reported on. And I don't think anyone was confused, but there were some journalists who were like, is there any truth to this? Obviously not. Obviously, he's not going to be doing that job because he's against all that stuff. But yeah, as a CEO of a company to post that about someone else's company and digging down more into it, the main reason why he was upset and threw these daggers at Disney was because Disney pulled their advertising off of X/Twitter when Elon was doing all those other crazy, whatever he's up to, racist stuff that he was. So they pulled all their ads out and he's upset about it. And that's how he's taking it out on Disney with a stupid April Fool's joke.
Also, if anybody needed to hate him anymore, like if anybody believes in any of the pieces of DEI and inclusion, like he's just literally telling everybody, like, I even think it's funny that I don't care about any of this stuff. Like, it's like a double.
Yep. And
Ugh.
we're getting to that place in the world where the people who are against stuff are now just vocal about it.
Yep.
And
And running things.
it's just wild.
Scary.
I couldn't believe that. Like I thought that was an April Fool's that he posted it, but he actually posted it. So it's like a
Yeah. Yeah.
double trouble. Um, any other April Fools that you caught?
I saw so many of the same old stuff, like, oh, Disneyland's gonna be open on the 30th of February. I'm like, okay, we've been there, done that. Let's not joke around. It's like a whole year away, anyways. It's not even a good joke. Um, I heard some other like freebie things at Disney. It's all like about free stuff. People always think Disney's gonna give away free stuff, which is kind of funny to think that, all people can think about is like, wow, I might get something free out of Disney today.
Like you wish. April
Right? Yeah,
Fools.
not gonna happen.
I saw a couple other ones. These are more so like cute, and I don't think I wouldn't consider an April Fool, but Duolingo, the language app.
Yes.
They put out a post that says Duolingo on ice, and it had their owl and other characters skating like Disney on ice,
Okay.
and they're like coming soon to your local auditorium or something. I thought it was more cute than a
That's cute.
fool, but yeah, lighthearted. There was a couple of people who posted fake Tiana Bayou Adventure announcement dates for opening.
Ooh, that's a good one because that's like hot off the presses. Like they're
Right.
actually, things are rocking and rolling with that right now.
And I gotta say, they got me. I saw that one today. I was scrolling today and it was from yesterday. And I was like, oh, it
Oh,
just seemed like you said, like normal news that we've been waiting for, but nope.
right.
April
It
Fools.
rolled over into today for me as well because there's been a lot of stuff happening today. And I'm like, I wonder if Disney was waiting for April Fools to be over before they start announcing things. But then I'm still like, wait, and I'm checking the date on all of them, as you're probably seeing as well.
Yep. I'm like, wait a minute, check the comments and all that.
Yeah.
There was the last one that I kind of collected for this episode was the developers at Dreamlight Valley. Do you remember I was like real obsessed with that game last year? I haven't played it in
Yes.
months. So that's the fun Disney game that's on all consoles and mobile devices. Disney Dreamlight Valley. They announced a new shop that was called Olaf's Snow Sculpture Emporium. And you get to build your own snowmen, snow people. Now, that one is just mean because it seems also likely. It's not that far fetched. Like it's a cute addition. So they're like
Wait,
April
curious
Fools
into what?
to the game that they're going to add this like
Oh, that was
Olaf.
an
Yeah,
April Fool's.
it's an
I didn't
April
even realize. I was like,
Fools.
oh, that's cool.
It seems normal. Yeah. So I don't know. People were not on their April Fools game this year at
No,
all.
there wasn't anything really good that I saw.
Did you do any at home or with anybody else?
No, I think I've been pranked by you so many times. I just don't feel like doing it to anybody else.
Oh,
It's like some PTSD trauma now. Um,
fair,
no,
fair enough.
I don't know. I was gone for the weekend. I was in Reno
Oh,
and
wow.
just happy to be coming home at that point. So I was just kind of chill, like just like not long car ride day. I just wasn't into that yesterday. So
Well,
yeah, took it easy.
well, that's all
I
we
could have
got
got my
for.
brother though. He's very gullible. I should have at
Oh, you
least done
should
something to
have.
him.
You could pretty much like tell him anything about like modern day and he'll believe it.
Well, did you know that iPhones now eat your meals for you? He'd be like,
Oh, that is one that I saw yesterday. Oh my gosh, I thought this one was real too. I kept thinking I didn't get got, but I guess I did. There was one showing a Denny's testing out a robot server droid, but it seemed so
oh,
real. Like in
yeah,
the
they
way
already have those at some
that's
places.
what I thought. So I was like, and they're like, it's rolling out, blah, blah, blah. It was April Fools. And then
I did see one in years past for escape rooms where they say there's 100 cats in a room and you have to get a key from each of them to get out of the room.
ooh, you would love that
I would love that. I
if
would just
it
lay
was
on the ground
real.
like, come here, kitties.
Pussycats. Okay, moving on from April Fools, we have a fun Patreon topic that we enjoyed. We're both traveling recently, so we got to watch and review something. And that usually comes from our friend Jessica Quo.
Yes,
And
she loves the
she
reviews.
loves to watch and review. So, what was her ask and what did we do?
Yeah, so she asked us to watch episode 1 and 2 of season 2 of Star Wars Visions, which is a an animated series where each episode is new, right? I believe that's like they're all unique individual episodes and unique animation as well and characters. So
Yeah.
meeting a lot of new animation and a lot of new Star Wars characters too, which is really cool. So
And
we got
different
to watch.
studios that I haven't heard of. So they're probably like indie studios, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool. It's kind of like it reminds me of how I don't know if they've always been doing that or if that's like a popular thing with series in general, but I think that's the first time I really heard of anybody doing that was with Mandalorian. All these different directors doing
Directors.
one episode each, you know?
Yeah, with TV series, it happens quite frequently, but they're still
Oh,
like
okay.
bound to the aesthetic and the storyline.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's true.
This one they were like let loose. And what it reminded me of was gonna date myself. Do you remember Spike and Mike's animation film festivals? They would do it yearly and you go to the theater and watch them sometimes.
Sick and Twisted
Thick
Animation
and Twisted.
Festival.
That's what it
Ah,
reminded me of. Like, ooh, what's the next one? What's the
did you
style
ever
gonna
go to one
be?
of those in person?
I've been to the theater screenings, but not like the festival, I guess.
Oh my God, it's so fun. I went to one and they had us like toilet papering the theater during the intermission and just like all, and like throwing
Oh,
beach
that's
balls out. It
fun.
was just like super entertaining and interactive and all these mini shorts of all this crazy animation. I remember this one of this guy who had a hangnail and
I
he
know that one. Oh,
no
it's so gross.
I'm gonna tell everybody on the podcast he bit his he bit his hangnail and he ripped it and it's one of those ones that don't go the way you want it to and it ripped his entire like body of skin off. It was great.
It was a lot. It was during that time too, where MTV had that style a lot, like Eon Flux, Ren and Stimpy, and
Yes.
oh,
Yep.
it was a weird time. But the festival I
Yeah.
think was geared toward adults. But I remember going like
Yeah.
14, 15, with who? Our good friend John Ramirez.
John or me, I can totally see that. Are you still shaking your hand from the hangnail?
Yeah, it's impressive.
Still
Yeah.
freaking out. I love
I
it.
hate that. I hate when my nail gets caught like on a fuzzy blanket.
Yes. Oh, I
Oh
have a
God.
hangnail injury right now, actually. I think it finally healed, but it was my middle finger on my right hand and it went a little too far.
F
Didn't come off like I
you.
thought it would. Yep. I don't want to flip everyone off, but it's right there.
All right, so Star Wars Visions is different animated episode, different stories, new characters that we've never heard of. What I don't know. We watched episode 1 and 2 of season 2, right? So how do we do a rating on this? Because each one is really so different.
So different. I figure we would just cover each episode like on its own and just
Yeah.
talk about each one. Okay. So episode 1, um, it seemed actually, I think both of them kind of, but episode 1 especially felt like a almost like a Ahsoka story
Oh
almost.
yeah,
Do you
like
know what I'm talking about? There's like parallels to Ahsoka in it.
the like conflicted
Yep, the conflict certainly
person.
was
Yeah.
there. And it seemed to be this new character named Lola, who I believe, because it's very short also. I was like, let me tell you, when I got ready to watch these, I was like ready to go. I had like my snacks. I got all like suited up, ready to watch this show. Did not realize these episodes are only 15 minutes long.
Very short.
So
Yep.
I was like, oh, like I don't even need to prepare at all. I could have watched this in a heartbeat. Um, but we got to meet Lola, and she seemed to have previously been a Sith, has
Right.
left the dark side. Not necessarily if she's a Jedi or not, right? But
Right.
she's somewhere in between and not trying to go back to the Sith side, but they are definitely trying to get her to come back
Yeah.
on board.
There were multiple like Sith people, warriors, and or sidekicks. Yeah, they were all trying to get her to come back. So I didn't understand that completely because I thought there was only allowed to be two, but it is what it is. But yeah, they wanted her. What was interesting is they wanted her to not just come back, but be the master.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And it was kind of scary, kind of dark, the second half when they were
And she's
chasing her
like,
and all that.
not today's Satan, basically.
Yeah. And she had a cute little droid thing.
Yes. We got a new droid friend. Have no idea its name. I don't think we heard
I
its
didn't
name
even
the
catch
entire
Lola,
time.
so good for you on catching her name. I didn't.
Oh, I don't know if I caught it or if I had looked up the director at some point, so I saw her name on there. I was trying to see because this episode gave me huge Spider-Verse vibes.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah.
animation style, very Spider-Verse. So I went to go see if is this like the director from Spider-Verse? Because it's all, oh wait, that's not Disney, huh?
No, it's
Oh, I just
Sony
remembered that's not Disney. I was
licensing.
like, oh, it's all the same
Yeah.
family now. So
I wish. I
they
wish.
still could have pulled the director for this, who knows? But
Definitely.
yeah, it wasn't though. And it was very much like kind of like me like the aha video, like the Take On Me video meets
Yeah.
Spider-Verse. So lots of paint splattering and bright colors with like a white or black background. And they actually use the term paint like a bunch of times throughout
Yeah.
the episode, whether it be like as simple as saying like the word paint as in something looks like paint to like this is the paint that I'm made up of. Like they were like getting into like the depth of what that could mean for your soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this paints the picture of who I am kind of deal. So there's a lot of paint references going on in this episode with tons of paint in the animation, which is really, really cool.
It was cool. And the color of the ink around her would change based on what was happening in the story and get really dark when the Sith were coming or when she was thinking about her dark side.
Right.
Um, yeah, so it was interesting. I don't think I could have done more than 15 minutes of it because of the format. It felt like I was watching like a canvas come to life.
Right. Right.
Um,
I mean, I sat through a whole Spider-Verse, but and
like that
two of
one's
them
like
and loved
action
it.
packed and the
Yeah,
music
it
is
was
good.
very, I have to say it was pretty slow, right? And
Yeah, it
we
was.
didn't know any of the characters. There wasn't much character development. I was kind of confused the whole time. So like,
Exactly. Yep.
and then it just drops you off after 15 minutes. You're like, hey, have a good day, get off the bus, right? And I'm like,
Then you
wait, what's
get you see the
happening?
blue font and it's like, oh, okay,
Like, oh, okay.
done.
Um, but I have to say a couple things. So the droid I was talking about, very cute, gave me Wally vibes. Didn't his little voice sound just like
Oh,
Wally?
yeah, yeah, he did.
Totally sound like Wally. And then did who did the main character Lola give you vibes of? Let's see if it matches mine.
Well, you had said Ahsoka, but you're saying in addition to that,
Yes.
um, Raya
Okay.
and the Last Dragon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
going off brand for this one.
Oh, okay.
FYI. She gave me Laura Croft meets
Oh,
Michelle Visage.
the judge of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah.
Which version? Ozempic version or previous version?
Definitely Ozempic version.
Oh, I could see the Lara
Yeah.
Croft Tomb Raider for sure.
Totally. She even had like the double belt thing
Uh-huh.
on and the wife beater. Like she had a lot of stuff that totally resembled Laura. And she had like the big guns. Like they didn't look like space guns, even though they were. They're like some big honking guns that she was
Yeah.
shooting off. So yeah, she was a bit of a badass femme fatale. But yeah, she gave me those vibes. What else was I gonna say about it? Oh, I was gonna go back to the droid. There was a really dark scene. So this, I don't know if this whole series, because again, these are the only two episodes I've watched so far of this entire series. Um, they are super dark. The two
Yeah.
that we watched, both of
Yeah.
them. And in this one, the droid, the cute little droid that is like so adorable, he ends up shooting this guy's head off. Like he like got his little cannon and just shot the Sith's head right off. Like it just
Boom.
I was like, dang, like what the heck? That was dark. And then the next Sith came out and he started ripping his legs off of the droid. And I'm like, damn, this is like,
Yeah.
geez. And it told me how quickly I can become attached to droids because I was already like, oh,
Right. That's a good point. You know, there are evil droids. Perhaps he was evil with Lola in the past and still
mm.
has some of that power.
You know what? I think you're right. I
That's
think he
creepy.
had his little light, I think, was changing from yellow to red.
Red. I can picture it.
I
I can
think
picture it.
so. It's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
It was pretty badass when she did the dual lightsaber thing, and one was
Yes.
red and one was, I think, yellow.
Yellow.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and her lightsabers is the first time I ever saw it. They were kind of at a curve. They were like curved lightsabers.
Yeah, they
That looked
felt
really cool.
like Japanese swords in a way or something like that.
Oh, right, right. I
Pretty
didn't even
cool.
think of that. Like, yeah. They also had like that was another really great paint moment was their lightsaber duel. It was like the
Yeah,
animation on that was like beautiful. I was
it
like,
was really
yeah, it
cool.
was like super cool. And then lots of like it didn't look just like straight kind of glowing lightsabers, you know. It was pretty cool. It reminded me of the lightsabers in Force Awakens when he like
Oh, they're like,
or the blasters when they shoot it and you see it like stuck like grrr, in
yeah,
midair, like
yeah.
that style.
Um, Also, because it was the first episode, I was surprised at the title. It just was Sith,
Right.
SITH, Sith. It's like, okay, I wonder what this is going to be about. But yeah, it was, I
Spoiler
liked it.
alert.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if I can even rate it with a 1 through 5 stars because it's just like its own thing.
It's so short. I
Yeah.
like barely got to know anything about it before I could even feel anything yet. And
How's about this? Would you, yes or no, recommend it to the casual Disney holic?
if okay, I would recommend it to the casual Disney holic that happens to be really into animation.
Oh, that's a good twist. So not even Star Wars animation. Yeah.
Yeah, someone that like really obsessed with animation, I think would really like this series because they just run through all different types.
I remember
Like,
thinking that when I first saw Spider-Verse was like people who love animation are probably dying of how cool this is.
right,
Yeah.
right. Was there and like I am like totally I when I was started watching this, I thought this was the anime series. Was there ever an anime series or is there just an anime episode in
Some
this?
episodes are anime style.
Okay.
And I did end up watching some of season 1, and it seems like that season had plenty in their
Okay.
episodes. Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, oh, this is that anime show, and I was really excited about it. I never watched it because I do like anime, but then I never got to it, and then I was like, this is not anime. What's happening?
Especially the second one. The second one is a little bit cartoony, but still dark.
hmm
It was called Screecher's Reach. That intrigued me, the title. Like, ooh, what's this?
What's a screecher? Let's find
Uh,
out. We found out.
we found
Let me
out
tell you.
it was also very scary again.
Yes, they actually started off the episode with like a comment by one of the people saying like, "Do you want to see a ghost?" And they're talking about
Ooh,
things being haunted. I'm like, "Whoa, I don't think we really have had a lot of like haunted or ghosts in the Star Wars universe. So this is
yeah.
kind of cool. Where's this gonna go?"
Demons, banshees. Like, yeah, we've never seen that before. Ugh.
Yeah, that was new. It gave me Secret of Nim vibes.
Oh, with the rats?
The
John
rats,
Bluth?
the
Okay.
specifically the Screecher that they discovered after it became like the white version.
Oh,
It reminded
yeah.
me of the like wise prophet rat called Nicodemus in Secret of Nim. Do you remember?
Oh my
Like
gosh,
the
now I
wispy.
do.
Yep. And he handed over like a necklace to Miss Brisby in Secret of Nim. And that's also they were talking a lot about this necklace in this episode.
Oh,
So
wow.
kind of made me think about that a lot. Like they could like
I
see visions through it or whatever. So similar.
it gave me vibes of I'm playing this game right now called Baldur's Gate.
Oh
It's like
yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons, and it gave me those vibes because I was just playing it. And there's also necklaces you could collect and like scary monsters in caves. But this one, I if I had to be just quick to say it, I did like this one better than the first one personally.
Okay.
It felt more like a fully contained story, like a movie, short movie.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna disagree on that part.
Ooh,
That
yeah.
I feel like it just pick me up and drop me off too fast, just like the last one.
It was quick. I think I would have liked to stay in that world longer. Like if it was a series, I'd be like, ooh,
Yeah.
this is interesting. So, I mean, the gist of it, right? There's a young girl, and she has, I think, I don't know if that's a little sibling or just a friend, and then another person. So there's like 3 people,
And
and
a
she,
character, an alien or
oh
something.
yeah, yeah, that was very
Yeah.
like 80s Punky Brewster cartoon
Yeah.
thing, but
Oh,
definitely
remember
cute.
Punky Brewster had that little like
Yeah.
flying thing? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
very cute. And so she says she's going to go to the haunted cave and confront the screecher that's in there. The screecher, as in like banshee wailing. And so they decide to go with her. They encounter the screecher, which is like some sort of banshee witch Sith thing. It's very creepy. It's like Gollum. It's like um, Mumra from uh, Mumra from Thundercats. It had a
Oh
little bit of
yes.
that, like, and it tried to attack them all. So she had them leave the cave, and then she confronted it and tried to escape. Eventually, did she fight it? I forgot how she ended up getting out.
It was like, yeah, I can't even remember, honestly. I remember like a bunch of like the red lighting right across her face and her eyes were real big.
Ooh.
So something was happening, but I didn't really see anything
Oh,
directly
you're right.
happen.
She did. The witch lady did pull out a red lightsaber.
Yeah.
That is weird. Okay.
And she was like, I think like really dark at the beginning, right? And she was
Yeah.
screaming so much screaming. It was really,
Yeah.
really creepy, actually.
There
Like that
was.
part was the creepiest part. And then after the girl somehow defeated her, she turned into that white, like pale version
Yeah.
of
At first, I thought they were going for like, you know how in stories like Moana or The Lion and the Mouse, where they have to remove the thorn from the creature that's hurt, and it's not actually
oh yeah, yeah. That's it
angry.
did look because then I go, oh, you kind of felt sorry for it after,
Yeah.
right?
But it seems to turn out that it was really creepy and evil. And then the little girl left, and then she got summoned by this, it looked like a Sith goddess or something. I don't know how to describe that. Alien goddess
Oh
thing.
yeah, yeah. That
And
thing
she
was
was
giving
like,
me like Spirited Away, No Face vibes or something, like just kind of
1000%.
floating, like
Yep, 1000%. And like very still, not talking much, just like da, 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 da. And I guess she passed some sort of test, Sith test. And she passed the test, and she had to choose between leaving her makeshift family in this land or going along with this Sith alien spirited away goddess. And surprisingly, she chose to leave. She's like,
yeah. It was
bye.
another you're she did see the bigger purpose and wanted to
She was kind of
help or whatever.
crying, but she still left.
Yeah, she's sad. She's sad. She left. It's always like the opposite of what you normally see. So
Yeah.
good for them for taking that risk. That's good. It's nice to
Yeah.
see some other ending than what you're expecting all the time.
I think with both of the episodes we watched and the way we just reviewed and described them, it makes me feel excited about what they're going to start doing in the live action world. Like with this new Rey movie, which they say is like completely different than the rest of the saga. Well, so they say. But like imagine things getting this weird and dark, but in live action. That would be pretty cool.
Right. Ooh. Okay.
So thank you, Jessica, our patron. That was a very interesting dive into Visions. My question for you is, are you going to be watching the rest of the series? Was that taste enough for you to keep going?
Huh. I want to say yes, but I like don't think I will. But here's the thing. I I feel like there's just so much that I need to watch always on my list. Like there's
There's a
always so
lot.
much. So but you know what this is great for, actually, which I might watch it now I'm thinking about it. I do love the length. Sometimes I just want to put something on that's like not a huge commitment. And there's not much like that anymore. Everything is like 45 minutes or over at this point. So like
Yeah.
having something that I can like have an intermission after 15 minutes sounds kind of great. So maybe I'll keep it on tap. I also do want to see the anime ones, especially after watching these now. Um, and it is kind of exciting getting to unravel the new animation. See, I'm on the animation side, which I'm not even a big animation junkie, but like I do like to see like what are they going to do next with this new animation style and what does it mean? The story though kind of bothers me enough to where I don't want to watch it because I
Yeah,
just
you're like,
like
I could do without it type
what's
of thing.
happening, and then you'll
Yeah.
never know because they're never coming back. It's like all right,
And it feels so like, they use that word canon. Is it in canon? Is it not? I'm assuming it's all non-canon. Maybe like our friends at Skywalking Through Neverland or some other Star Wars experts, maybe they know if it is like do our very close, well-known Star Wars friends and stories live in the same universe? I don't understand if they
yeah,
do or not.
fill us in if we are
Yeah.
missing a big piece to this, which I feel like we might be. I kind of hope we are.
Yeah. I'm with you though on the short episodes. I think that's what might get me to keep watching it. Also, it's not
Yeah.
on the top of my list, but that's what happened with Rebels. It was on the bottom of my list for a long time. And then once I got into it and how short the episodes were, I ended up binging it and just loving it.
Rebels is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know
So,
what though? I have to say, not to keep like kicking a dead horse, but it was both of the episodes are pretty slow. Like there was
yeah.
like they could have
Yeah.
done more with what they had. And that was kind of like, all right, what's going on? I want to know from Jessica, actually. Jessica, reach out to us and tell us why you picked these two episodes specifically. 'Cause she was very like season two, episode one and two, not anything else. So I want to know why those two episodes in
That's a good
particular.
point. Like, what if those were the only dark, weird, and scary ones?
Ooh, she just knows us. She's like, listen,
Yep.
they're gonna like these two.
Right. Okay. So that was Star Wars Visions. So that's on Disney Plus if anyone's interested in checking that out. Speaking of Disney Plus, over the last couple of weeks, they rebranded their logo and colors, and it threw me off. I'm actually traveling internationally, so I was like, oh, is it just here in Mexico that looks like that color? And then I texted you, and you're like, no, it's the new color. What do you think of the color?
I like it. I also noticed it right away. I still haven't looked up my theory if they're just blending the colors of Hulu and Disney Plus, but I'm assuming that makes too much sense to where it wouldn't be that. But they have officially combined Hulu.
Yes, and if you have the regular Hulu, you can still open that app if you want live, which is,
Yes,
I wish they all had it in the same place, to be
I
honest.
know. You know, it's funny. I've always been saying this whole time. I wish that all the streaming would just be in one spot. I would pay for that platform. However, now that it is, I'm kind of like, oh my God, now I have to like figure out, there's like so much to look through
Yeah,
that it's almost too messy. But you
right.
can also divide it like on Disney Plus, you can choose the Disney button and it'll just take you back to like the Disney content. So you can kind of separate them out pretty easily, which is nice. Um, but nonetheless,
Yeah.
when I do my like bark at Siri thing, that is nice to just be like, show me this show, and it'll just pop it up. So
Oh, you barked at Siri. I just got it. I
yeah,
don't know.
like
Yelling into
here,
the
I want
remote.
this, do it.
It is weird seeing the Hulu content like in the library on the bottom. We talked about this like years ago when we knew it was coming, like Pam and Tommy Lee and the Chippendales, like some of the more adult focused things that are right there. But good for them. They are trying to capture the full audience. They're trying to compete with Netflix, and this is what they got to do. So I did
Yep.
do some research on the color, and
Oh, good.
um, it seems to be based on the article I was reading. The journalist couldn't really get a proper answer, but she said one person she spoke to at Disney said they're inspired by the Northern Lights.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
and even this journalist that I was reading didn't
That's
completely
random.
buy it. She was like, I thought it was the Hulu Disney color combo too.
Yeah.
So, and then I was like, that is very random. And then there was no mention of like Frozen. So I was like, okay, so why that? So who knows? But one of the other
That's
noticeable
so
things,
random.
so random. One of the noticeable things that the journalist mentioned was uh, the Disney pops up last. So now you see the star trail and then the word Disney. And her conclusion, this is a stretch, her conclusion is that it makes it a little less Disney so that people who just want another Netflix don't feel like they're being bombarded by kids' content.
Okay,
I don't know.
okay.
Maybe they did some testing. It seems like so deep.
Yeah, it seems, I don't know. I feel like I get that, but it also feels like it's Disney though. They should put their stuff
Yeah,
first. It's
it's
weird.
very
That's
weird.
really interesting. That's got to be some straight up research. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I don't like it. I don't like the color. It looks like my screen is broken. I like feel like I need to fix the contrast or the color or the tint. It doesn't look
It's
right.
like an ombre too, right? Where it's like
Yeah.
faded out.
It doesn't look Disney, but I guess maybe that is the point. I don't know. That's life. Okay,
It's not
so
Disney anymore.
it's
It's
not Disney
fine.
anymore. So I mentioned I was traveling, which means I've been seeing different types of Disney Plus content. So normally what I do is if I'm traveling, I'll use a VPN and trick it to think that I'm still in the US so that I get to see the content I'm looking for. But lately I've been experimenting and seeing what they have like here in Mexico, and then also changing the VPN to different countries. And there's so many weird series and
How
Disney,
cool.
there's like actual Disney originals in different languages that are just for
Yeah,
that country. Yeah.
super
So
cool.
fascinating. It's pretty cheap if anyone wants to subscribe to get a VPN. This is not a sponsored segment, but yeah, try it out. It's fascinating. I haven't done it with any other platforms yet, just Disney Plus.
Now, do you have to buy a new subscription to a new VPN in each country?
No, it says like, hey, looks like you're traveling or something like that. And then it shows the different content. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Some places, I think just a couple of months ago when I was traveling, Max, HBO Max, wouldn't let me open it here in Mexico without the VPN. But it seems like they changed it because now it opens, but I do see weird content. So I don't know. I guess
Ah,
it depends on the platform.
I'll never forget, total sidebar, but when I went to Europe, this is now like 12 years ago, I didn't download any content to my iPad or anything. I was like, I'm just going to use Netflix. It's like, I'm probably not going to need it that much. I have Wi-Fi pretty much everywhere. I'm just going to use Netflix and I'll have to have all this downloaded stuff. And yeah, they didn't have, like, I couldn't log in over there. I was like, dang it.
That's so annoying. Yep. Hulu. Hulu is
Whoops,
another
didn't
one.
realize.
The Hulu app, standalone app. It's a little bit different where they won't let you use it out of your household. So
Oh,
you could actually use Hulu. It's available in other countries, but they're being like sticklers with how many people can be watching at the same time on different IP.
yeah.
Very annoying because at my previous place, we had two routers so that if one went down, we would switch to the other one. And
Hmm.
it would think we left. And it says like, you only have 3 more times to do this year. I don't appreciate it.
Like,
Very
chill
rude.
out.
Chill out. So there is something I am excited about coming to Disney
Okay.
Plus. I think on a recent episode, we talked a lot about like aliens and extraterrestrial and how there's an alien movie coming out that's under the Disney company, Fox. But now there's an alien series being developed for Disney Plus. And I'm excited about it. The little bit I read was that it's supposed to be more spooky, more horror, but also more much more about humans toying with genetics and the consequences of it. So it could be interesting.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
could be interesting. So they're
The whole
really
like playing
doubling
God
down.
theory, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly that. The recent spin-offs that Ridley Scott actually made of Alien, which was like Prometheus, and there was another one, they started dabbling in that and creating AI that would then realize that we are the problem. And we've seen this like in Terminator and other movies where the AI comes after us because it's programmed to make the world a better place. It's like, whoops.
right. We
So
didn't think this one through.
right, yeah, Chat GPT. So I'm curious to see where this show goes. I hope it does good. Disney's also doubling down on the other big Fox franchise, which is Planet of the Apes. I just saw like another trailer for that for like part 5. I don't even know. I lost track. I saw
There's a
the
lot of
first
Caesars.
2. Yeah, a lot of Caesars. I saw the one with James Franco, and I think the second one. Then I stopped.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, that's all I saw too. I don't even know
very
if I saw the second one. I think I did, but maybe stop there for sure.
So I guess we just have to prepare ourselves for more of this because now that that's merged with Hulu, they're just going to keep putting
Right.
more adult content. We have Deadpool, Wolverine coming out, rated R. I was hearing that Blade is also going to be rated R. I'm here for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
New times, new times. And it's funny too because this is like one of the biggest complaints about like non-Disney people have about Disney taking over things like, oh, they're gonna make it for kids or they're gonna ruin it. It's gonna be watered down. Like, oh no, we got your R-rated right here. Like,
Right?
now let's go.
Yep. I think they've done good with Marvel and then even better now if they keep it rated R. Trying to think if they ever really ruined anything.
I mean, lots of people, it's all opinion. Like lots of people
Yeah.
say they were in Star Wars. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was the big one that people were worried about. Fair
yeah.
enough. Uh,
Marvel.
I would say, what do you think about Disney Star Wars versus
I
Be
liked
fun.
it. I liked it a
Yeah.
lot. And I love all the series. Like, are you kidding me? We've got so much more Star Wars now. I don't think there's any Star Wars I don't like. Like some of it is like not as good as the rest of it, but
Yeah.
but it's all good. So I'm here for it for sure. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I think they invested in it. So we ended up getting more content and a freaking land, two of them,
Yeah. Yeah.
Galaxy's Edge. That would have not happened. So yeah, I don't think they messed it up, but I could see the fear. If there was something that I was a mega fan of,
Yes.
ooh, I would be worried. Yeah.
So worried. I also totally get that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like a fast food chain. That's my mind goes to food, like something that gets acquired that's not entertainment. I'm always like, oh, they're gonna fuck it up, but I can't think of one right now.
That's an easy one too, because I don't like Disney, like not to hate, but Disney food is not like the best thing out there. You know what I mean? Like we all talk about the amazing food at Disney, but I think we're only comparing it to other Disney food or other theme park food,
Other
not
theme
like
park
food
food.
in general, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I feel like that would be all very nervous. Like this one that we talked about recently that was Andrew submitted to us about the fast food. What was it called? Mickey Mouse Kitchen?
Oh,
Something like
yep.
that? Mickey's
Yep.
Kitchen? That sounded like, mm-mm, no, thank you.
Oh, and those were weird times too. You had brought up in the episode the Queen Mary that Disney acquired. I wonder if there was some ship aficionado out there that was like, no,
Yeah.
Disney's acquiring the Queen
Even
Mary.
if I had really known about all of that back then, I probably also would have been like that because it's a haunted attraction, right? So like,
Yeah.
oh no, what are they gonna do to it? It has
What are they
ghosts
gonna
living in there. Let's
do?
go. God dang it.
Weird. All right. So since we're on the topic of Disney Plus, what would you want to see? So you know how they took Alien, which is a sci-fi horror franchise, and now they're turning it into a series. They've also now done it with Star Wars. What would you want to see like turn into a series so that you could spend more time with whatever it is, the world, the story, the characters?
This is a really hard question because first of all, the first few things I thought of, I was like, oh wait, they already did that. It's like, oh wait, that already happened. Um, and then the rest of the things I could think of, they're all things that I don't necessarily like. There are things I want more of, but I'm things that I'm also how we were just talking about, very nervous about it ruining it.
Right.
I can't
Yeah.
think of anything I'd be like, yeah, that would you can have that one. There's not really anything in that bucket of things I cared that much about that I want more of that I wasn't nervous it would be ruined. So I'm gonna say the things that I think would be cool that could possibly be ruined. One, the Goonies.
That
So
would be kind of
I went straight back to
cool.
80s for this, by the
Okay.
way. So the two I picked were the Goonies and Neverending Story, which are probably two of my favorite.
Yeah.
Um, whoa, what was that?
Ooh. So if you're on Zoom these days, I think it does hand gestures and balloons, but I don't think I have mine turned on. So if you're
From
watching
the
the
peace
video
sign?
version of this,
I was throwing up two because I was talking about two things. I don't know why I did that. That
two
was so
things,
weird.
peace. Okay, I have a lot to say about those two things. One,
Okay.
when you said Goonies, it immediately made me think of how they did Willow, and then it got
Right?
canceled and nobody watched it. I didn't watch it. I was hyped for it. I was like sucked into the hype for it, but guess I didn't care enough to watch it. Whoops. So it got canceled and they pulled it. It's not even on Disney Plus anymore. They don't want to even pay the licensing to keep it on.
Yikes.
It's
I didn't know it
horrible.
was gone.
Yeah, and the main actor, the little person who's like the main actor on it, he was really mad. He like posted and tweeted about how
It's
messed
like,
up it
you
was that
jerks
they
thought
pulled
you
it.
liked me.
Yeah, pretty messed up. So that made me think of when I thought of Goonies. I was like, would I watch it? What more story is there to tell? But I would just hearing it. Of course, I would watch it. It's Goonies, especially if
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
set in the
if
same
they,
time period.
right, I feel like the same, yeah, like the whole adventure, like, oh, you know, it'd be another cool one is like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, like those kind of like goofy, old, fun, like could do like a
Ooh,
family version of those and they still could be really good. But those adventure films were really, really cool.
yeah. So you also said Neverending Story. So it was just announced that they are making a film franchise, not Disney, like whoever owns it.
Oh my God.
And I'm excited, but I was really
I'm gonna
hoping
cry.
for a long time that HBO would do a Neverending Story series. I feel like it could spend a lot of time breathing like Game of Thrones. There's so much in that world of
Yeah.
Fantasia. I would
I know I
love
want to
it.
know, so that's why I was thinking of the series, because I want to know so much more
Yeah.
about all the characters.
Yep.
Like they
I
all
would much
had
rather it be a series than a reboot. But take what
like
we can
what's
get.
funny? When I talk about Neverending Story, a lot of people completely forgot the racing snail. They forget the bat.
Yes.
They forget the rock eater or rock biter. Like, how do you guys forget that? That was like the first half of the movie. So, like, I want to know more about those people and where
Yeah.
they
And
are. And
Inglebook or whatever, the one who's like, "Ah, have courage, Atreyu." He's like him and his wife, and she's like, it has to hurt if
oh
it has to
yes,
heal.
yes.
Like they have their whole
Even the
romance story.
bookshop owner,
The bookshop
like,
owner in the real world. Yep. Yep.
yeah, like he seemed like he knew what was up with Neverending Story, and I want to know more about
You're
what he
right.
knows the history of that.
He alluded to having gone into it as well and warned
Yeah,
Bastian not to.
yeah, it's almost like Jumanji style, right? So wait, wait,
Jumanji.
wait. You just said that they announced something, but you didn't even tell me what they announced.
Oh, they're making they're not remaking the movie, they're making another adaptation of the
Oh,
book.
they are
Yeah,
really.
they really
Wait,
are.
hold on.
So
Are they really remaking The Crow with Jared Leto?
okay, so they're not making The
Oh
Crow
God, I'm
with
gonna
Jared
cry.
Leto. It's the other guy. It's the guy who played It, who looks just like the Joker, which is why you're probably thinking Jared Leto's
Oh,
Joker
I
from
totally saw
Suicide
somebody
Squad.
saying Jared Leto. Thank
Yeah,
goodness.
so
Okay.
people are talking crap because the Crow, the new design for the Crow looks so much like Jared Leto's Joker in
It
Suicide Squad.
does.
Yeah, with a tattoo.
Okay, I thought it was him.
And here's where it
Uh,
comes full circle. First, I like this tangent because I like the Crow. So in fact, and this is the same with Neverending Story, and some people lose sight of this when they are reading the news about movies. So The Crow, the new version, is an adaptation of the graphic novel, not a remake of the Brandon Lee movie, which was also an
okay.
adaptation, right? It's just a subtle difference, but it's trying to say we're taking another stab at the book. We're not redoing the Brandon Lee one.
Yeah, I feel like
And
they shouldn't touch the
yeah,
Brandon Lee one either, right? Yeah.
and it turns out, here's where it's funny full circle. The Joker, that the Jared Leto Joker with the tattoos and the shiny teeth, the grill, and the slick back hair was based off of the newer version of the Crow graphic novels.
Oh my God, how funny.
Yeah, so it's like that's why it looks like it. I don't like it. I fell in love with the Crow movie with Brandon Lee, and the
Yeah.
soundtrack was so good. Not the comic, not the graphic novel. So I think a lot of people did. That's how they knew of the Crow. So that's why it's tough to see it. But it's dude. It's the dude from It, Skarsgård, the brother, Alexander Skarsgård's brother. Forgot his name. He played Pennywise.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the new Crow. Wait, what were we talking about?
Sorry, that was all me like
Well, that's a good
ADHDing
one.
out over here, like
Oh, Neverending
tangent
Story.
central.
So Neverending
Yes.
Story is another direct adaptation of the German novels, not a remake
Oh,
of the
okay.
80s movies.
Actually, I have a
So
question. I can
yeah,
never remember this. What is the difference between a remake and a reboot?
this is how I interpret it. And part of it comes from a scene in Scream 4 where the film junkies were also trying to explain it. So a reboot is when they're trying to breathe life back in to an existing franchise and it's still connected to what happened before. It's still in the same canon, same universe. And
Okay.
oftentimes they will bring back some of those old school actors to play the characters at an older age. And
Okay.
that's like a reboot. So you could say Force Awakens was a reboot.
Okay. And like the new
Um,
Halloween movies and stuff like that.
yes, yes.
Okay.
And then a remake doesn't doesn't acknowledge the other one existed at all.
So just doing the same movie over again
Yeah, and
with
there was
different.
no source material to adapt. They're just redoing the existing movie.
Okay.
It happens a lot with language changes. I think the one you hate the most is they did a remake of
Think about Old Boy.
Old Boy. Yep. So
You know
that's a
what? I
English
don't
remake.
hate that one. It's just like watered down. Like the twist was so good and they just watered it down for the American version, which is so typical. But if you guys want to watch Old Boy, psycho thriller, watch the Korean version, please. Okay. Moving on.
Oh, and then there's one more term that is newer, which is a requel, which
Yes.
is a reboot that is also a direct sequel, like direct continuation, and sometimes it continues the number. So Scream 4 was
Okay.
a
It's a
requel,
requel.
and that's why they explained it in that movie, which I love because the original Scream was already poking
It's
fun, right?
so good at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was like making fun of the fact that they're Scream 4, but why is Courtney Cox here? Here's why. It's a
That's
requel.
great. That's great. I love
Yeah.
that.
So I think we'll start seeing more of those probably too.
Okay, so back on to IP of a series that you might want to see. What were yours?
Um, well, you made me think of one that also happened that I didn't have ready, which was Monsters University. It's called
Right?
Monsters at Work. That's
Hmm.
another one that I got excited for and then I don't watch. I watched
Never
the first
watched.
episode and I was like, I don't need this. Like I was fine with the two movies. So there's that. If anything, I would probably dabble into the like the non like the non-animated Disney stuff. So I would like to see more. Well, here we go. They're actually making ready for it, a requel
Okay.
of Freaky Friday with
Oh my gosh.
Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis, which was already a remake of
Hilarious.
original,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, and that was a remake. It didn't acknowledge the old version of it. And then in this new one coming out that I am excited for because I love a body swap movie. And this one, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan, they're both, adults. Lindsay Lohan's an adult now, and they body swap with two teenage girls. So they're both now in the teenage girls' bodies, and I think
Oh
they're
my
like
God, how
sisters or
funny.
friends. So I'm like, all
Oh,
right,
that's so weird. Okay.
I'm here for it. And so I want to see more of that stuff. With I guess not that one's a movie sequel though, but a series. Like you had said, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Definitely. Like you know how there's that whole academy that's in Journey to Imagination and Honey, I
Yeah.
Shrunk
They
the
could tie it into all
Audience.
the park stuff too.
Yeah, I would
Be
be. I
fun.
would. I guess I would watch that. Here I say I'm watching it, and then I don't watch it. I would watch that. National Treasure is another one that they tried, and if you told me, I probably would have been excited about it, and I never watched it.
Never watched it.
Other live action ones I'm thinking of, Indiana Jones would be interesting.
Hmm.
They did try that
The
with River
SCA one.
Phoenix.
I'm just
Oh,
saying.
is that ever going? They haven't even
I
talked
don't
about it.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
Shame.
Shame.
So I was thinking of Indiana Jones. It would be cool, but then I remembered they did do a series way back in the day with River Phoenix, rest in peace, as young Indiana Jones. I think it was
Yeah.
called Young Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if that did well or
Didn't
didn't
watch
do
it.
well.
Just like the others.
I really like barely remember it.
You know, I just thought of a fun one. Could be Back to the Future and they can go to different eras.
Oh, that could be cool. That's giving me Doctor Who vibes, which I haven't seen.
Doctor Who and Umbrella Academy too.
Umbrella Academy. Yep. Those things do well. Doctor Who is huge, and that's now coming to Disney Plus, which is
Yeah.
pretty interesting. I kind of want to get into it, but it seems like it's been out for so long with a huge fan
Such a
base.
commitment.
Yeah, I feel so behind on it. But it seems interesting. It's like how you described the Back to the Future thing. Yeah, I couldn't really think of any other. Every time I was noodling something, I went, no, I don't think I'd actually I don't I don't need a series of it. And then there were the animated ones back in the old days, which were done by Disney Toon Studio, and they looked off. That was like the
Oh,
Little Mermaid series, and
yeah.
Aladdin had a series
Got to
for
be
a while.
full force or nothing with
Yeah,
those kind of things, especially animation.
yeah, it looks like cheap. It looked cheap. So
I think one
yeah.
last one I'd be down for is a little more of oh my God, I just forgot what it's called. Werewolf by Night. I would like to see more
Ooh,
of that. It was
okay.
really cool.
All
We got
right.
such a teaser.
And that one's possible because Marvel has been doing
Yeah.
series. Oh wait, I thought of one. I thought of one, and I will commit to watching this if it's real.
Okay.
Live action, huge production budget like Game of Thrones, The Black Cauldron series.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. I was just
That
talking
could
about
be
Black
good.
Cauldron this morning.
That would be a good one. You're
Yeah,
listening to us,
wicked.
Disney.
Wicked.
And then I had one more that I wanted to mention that's actually happening, and it's coming out as Moana 2. So the Moana sequel that they announced kind of recently is actually just the animated series that was going to launch this fall on Disney Plus. And Bob Iger or somebody thought it looked really good, and they decided to just like Frankenstein it into a feature theatrical release movie. So I'm like, I hope it's not bad.
Yes.
And it's not even the same
What?
songwriters. Like Lin-Manuel is not even involved. So like, okay,
Mm,
which could be a good thing for people who don't like his music, but it won't feel the same as this first one. Connected.
yeah,
So,
that's curious. I wonder.
Curiouser and Curiouser.
Curiouser,
Alice.
curiouser.
Alice in
Ooh, that would be
Wonderland.
another fun series. There's
Yeah.
so many good characters in Alice in Wonderland.
Yep. We can go on and on. And so many there's every time that it had like a TV thing, it had been loved,
Ooh,
liked.
can we please get an Alice Through the Looking Glass
Ooh.
miniseries with the Jabberwocky?
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Ooh, that's so creepy. I love that.
Just no Tim Burton.
No, it's
It'd
not.
be
Well,
too
wait, what did
CG.
Tim Burton do recently that was okay? Wednesday. He did okay with Wednesday. That one's all right.
Yeah, it felt more classic Tim Burton. And I
Yeah, I
saw the
think he's like
trailer.
retreating a little bit.
I think so. He's like over the CG craze. Um,
Yeah.
Beetlejuice 2. Did you see the
Oh,
sequel
yes.
trailer?
This is
Looks good.
a reboot, right? Because Michael
Requel.
Keaton's in it.
Yeah, actually,
Huh?
reboots and requels can be one and the same. So it's both a reboot and a requel.
Oh, yeah, requel. Dang
Yeah,
it.
because it has
Could have had
Beetlejuice
that one.
2, same characters, rebooting it with Jenna Ortega, but still bringing back a couple of the classic characters. Yep.
Right.
I'm very excited, especially with Moira Rose from Schitt's Creek coming back as
I
the
know
mom.
she's in it too, right? And so is Winona
So is
Ryder.
Winona. Yep.
That's some of the people. Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one. And that one looks classic Tim Burton. So maybe he is coming back to his roots.
I saw somebody's post about Michael Keaton. They're like, how does this Beetlejuice look more Beetlejuice than the first Beetlejuice? I was
Yeah,
dying.
now he looks like him in real life, like his face without the makeup. But I mean, yeah, he's aged.
It's so funny.
Poor
It's so
thing.
mean, but it's so true.
He also came back as Batman, which was also a Tim Burton movie, in The Flash, the DC movie The Flash. Did you watch that one?
Oh, right, right.
Yeah. So nostalgia. Well, anyways, we had our eyes glued to Disney Plus in this episode today. We also watched Star Wars Visions and gave our reviews. Might not continue watching it right away. And we had some laughs this episode about some of the April Fool's announcements that came out last Monday.
Yes, so thank you all for listening, and we hope you enjoyed episode 183 of the Disneyholics Show.
Follow us on social media at the Disneyholics.
And if you'd like to get in touch, send us a DM on Instagram or contact us at thedisneyholics.com.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.